Welcome to Signed, Conversations with Digital Mavericks. My name is Anita Sharma, and I'm your host. Today, I am thrilled with our guest. His name is Jon Kung. He is our first chef that we've had on the show. And Jon is redefining what it means to be a modern chef and culinary storyteller. Jon is a self-taught cook, content creator, and best-selling cookbook author, known for blending Chinese American heritage with bold, inventive flavors. With a massive following across social platforms, Jon has become a leading voice in the world of third culture cooking, sharing recipes that honor tradition while embracing creativity. Whether he's breaking down technique, exploring food history, or challenging the boundaries of fusion cuisine, Jon brings curiosity, humor, and a very fresh perspective to the kitchen. Jon, thrilled to have you on the show. Welcome. Signed, Conversations with Digital Mavericks.
Thank you so much. That was the best introduction that I've had. I might steal this for my byline.
That's amazing. Well,
really great.
I'm happy to share with you. And you know what I realized, Jon? We forgot to include Helmut Lang model. That was I can't believe we forgot to include that in there. Those pictures were fire.
Thank you so much. It's not a bad first modeling gig to have.
Yeah, that was really cool. And we'll link it, I don't know, somewhere underneath, however it is, so you can see those wonderful pictures. But yeah, super excited to have you on, Jon. We have been working together for a while now. You keep us very busy, so it's nice to have an opportunity to sit down and chat with you and learn about you and your process. So let's jump right into food.
Yeah.
What's your earliest memory of tasting something and thinking, wow, food is amazing?
Oh, I know exactly the moment. So I was in Cape Town, South Africa, and that was
nice.
Actually, I was like 16 years old, and I was with my uncle, and we were out on like this, I think he called it like a rubber duck boat, and I don't know if that's an internationally recognized nautical term, but basically it was like one of those
duckies.
Yeah, it's like a tube raft.
Okay.
So it's like one of those, like, it was literally just like a U-shaped inflatable tube with like some planks and stuff on it, and it was like, so that was like in a boat shape, so it was like kind of like inflatable boat type thing, and we were out, and we had set out some lobster nets, pretty much what people would recognize as lobster nets. And we were crayfishing. In South Africa, they call spiny lobsters crayfish, and spiny lobsters are pretty much just spiky lobsters with no claws.
Right.
Yeah, there's so much background.
Yeah.
And so as we were pulling them up, we were taking most of them back. Because he had like a saltwater tank in his house, and we were like, keep them and like cook them as from fresh. But the ones that, and we were naughty, the ones that were technically too small for us to take with us, we had soy sauce on the boat and wasabi on the boat. And we would crack them open and eat them straight out of the ocean. And the water was so cold, there was actually like an iceberg that had broken off from Antarctica. So that the water was like extra cold that day. And it was the first time for me experiencing like that level of like almost sugary sweetness from shellfish or of any, or crustacean of any kind. And I do realize that like many years later, practically like a decade and a half later, I read the Anthony Bourdain biography, and like he talked about his first time having oysters on the beach and stuff like that. And I was like, wow, I feel like I just copied his life experience in a way, because it literally was the first time that I could remember how something tasted throughout the years. Like, I've eaten at amazing restaurants, and I've had the privilege of just like dining at some of the best restaurants in the world, and like I'll remember something here and there, but nothing as vivid as that.
Yeah, that is like the most incredible story. Most people are like, Yeah, I remember eating like Smarties, growing up in Canada. Damn, they were good. Cracking open that, and you're literally like out on the ocean in Cape
Yeah, it
Town.
was
Like
truly,
that
it
was
was probably
literally the
like
best story. That's amazing.
the combination of all of those things put together, being with family and just like having that experience at like 16 years old is still like quite young
Yeah.
to for when you're like as far as like collecting first experiences go. Like it was amazing. I feel like I'm chasing that experience like every opportunity that I get.
Yeah, chasing that high. I love that.
Hmm.
And your background is really interesting because you were born in LA, then you
Hmm.
lived in Hong Kong and Toronto.
Hmm.
Canadian connection, love it.
Hmm.
And now you're in Detroit. So let explain to us sort of like all those influences and how I guess like all those cities and how they've influenced you.
Yeah, so like having access to a city like Toronto or growing up like really young in a city like Toronto and Hong Kong really allowed me to solidify my own identity as like a Chinese person. Like I'm not, as they say, like a complete Hong Konger. I'm definitely a third culture kid, but I did have a good solid foundation on at least food wise, I will say, on what my sense of taste as a Cantonese person from Hong Kong would be. Um, and so I was so lucky to be able to taste really good versions of my home and cultural cuisine. And with that, I kept that with me and I used those experiences to like rebuild off of my own taste and ability when I was teaching myself how to cook. So yeah, and like expanded culturally wise, I also feel like it gave me quite a bit of confidence as an Asian American. Like I never felt like I needed to ever apologize for myself, as like some people tend to do when they are like an ethnic minority in the United States. Like I never like I understood what it was to feel othered and be othered here, but my foundation, like my the luck that I had to just at one point in time be the majority somewhere, I
Mhm.
was never shaken by other people's opinion of like whether or not I belonged anywhere.
Yeah, that is so cool. Like that's such a cool sort of interpretation of that in the sense that you lived in these really international cities, so you were exposed to like this amazing food from very
Hmm.
early on. And so how about in your own home? What was that experience like? Like who inspired you to be interested in food and to learn about all of this?
Normally I did. Well, I had your pretty. I never having eaten in anyone else's home. What my understanding of like,
Right. Like a true Asian child.
yeah,
Like my
you're
parents were, my background's East Indian. My parents were like, no, no, we don't spend food. We don't spend money on food outside. We have food here.
right. And
Yes.
so like the things that I would eat would be things that I just assumed would be considered home cooking, but really it was just whatever we could. So one of my favorite, like I loved Chinese fried chicken wings as a kid, as any kid would
Hmm.
love, like just with the baking soda on top to make the skin really crispy. But we marinated our in like white pepper and fish sauce and soy sauce and a little bit of sugar and some chicken powder. And like I don't know if that's what other people experienced in their life as far as like how they eat their fried chicken at home. Another thing that we used to eat was like macaroni casserole made with cream of chicken soup with broccoli and like that
Yeah.
was, I
A
think it was
far
like a
cry from
casserole.
the Chinese food.
Exactly, but at the same time like Hong Kong still has British influence and we have
Right.
something called macaroni soup, um that was always served alongside with the other option of being like creamed corn soup. So like these things that I just, oh okay, these are just things that I ate at home. um I guess in a sense it was very adventurous. I also had exposure to Filipino food when I was younger, like adobo and turon, which is kind of like if lumpia was made with banana or banana fried spring rolls.
Hmm.
That was one of my favorite things, treats to have as a kid. Uh, I think most importantly, what was instilled in me was an openness to try food. I don't have to like it, but I did have
Right.
to try it. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I have two kids, a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old. And my 7-year-old is amazing. She will try everything, very adventurous. And my 5-year-old will only eat things that are like, brown. So like brown or white, like no veggies, like chicken nuggets and pizza, and that's pretty much it. But that's great. And that's what we're trying to instill in them. Like just try it. You don't have to like
Hmm.
it, but just try it. So that's cool. You were exposed to so much at such a young age. That's great. And in college, you actually like, you never went to chef school, to
Hmm.
cooking school. What do you culinary school is what I
Yeah.
should call it. You studied theater arts and creative writing. Then
Hmm.
you got a law degree. I always forget that.
I
You
did.
got a law degree. That's amazing. And
That's
now
why I
here
feel
we
like
are.
one of the greatest blessings I had about law school was that, law school does a really good job in teaching you how much it is, like how infinite it can be. Um, the amount of stuff that you do not know.
Hmm.
And so once it came, the minute that I got like my first offer for a job as a content creator, I thought immediately, like, oh, I need to find an entertainment lawyer
Yes, smart
right
move.
away.
Very smart thinking. That's great. I mean, listen, I tell people law school doesn't prepare you to actually practice law, but it does
No.
teach you how to consume a large amount of information and
Yes.
distill it.
Yes,
Like you still
exactly.
actually have to start working as a lawyer to learn the trade, but yeah, and critical thinking. So I know I'm sure that comes in handy for you today. So you did all of that, and which
Mhm.
is amazing. And then how did you find your way to the kitchen professionally?
So I taught myself how to cook around the same time that I started in law school. It coming from a super creative undergraduate degree at the height of the recession, and certainly in this case of Michigan, the double whammy
Hmm. So
recession.
that was 2018, around there.
2000, I would say 2010,
Okay, yeah,
2008,
we're
9,
going
and
back
10.
actually. So that
Yeah.
recession. So like
Yeah,
which
yeah,
one?
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Teaching myself how to cook was the only creative outlet that I could rationalize having, because I was so intensely trying to survive law school that like I had put all my passions aside and just was like, I can just focus on this for 3 years. And as it turns out, I needed some kind of creative like release, and so I just started cooking and like cooking a little bit more seriously, and then being serious, and then just like being more serious about how to cook instead of just like what to cook. And so just alongside of me learning torts and civil
Right.
procedure and all of that, I was
You
also
learned how
teaching
to like
myself.
flambe.
Yep,
Yes.
exactly. Right. uh,
That part sounds much more interesting, by the way, than torts or like contracts.
As it turned out, it was
Yeah.
for me. And so I think during my time as a 3L or a third year,
Hmm.
I was starting to do pop-ups in the city as well. Like I had
Wow.
cooked for some people and they were like, people in Detroit don't have food like this. And I was like, well, I can make some. And so at that time, Detroit was starting to have pop-up restaurants coming in. Pop-ups were very in vogue during that time. I was the first Chinese pop-up to like be in Detroit, and we were in abandoned buildings and
Oh,
warehouses
wow.
and
That's
empty
so cool.
storefronts. I'd done a couple of like underground parties in huge abandoned factories. It was
So you did
That's
like
what.
rave slash like cooking
Yes.
pop
Yeah,
up?
yeah, yeah. Like fried chicken and satay at the rave. Yeah, we
Nice.
out there. And it was amazing. Like for a person in their like 20s experiencing a side of life like that they'd never even thought, and then mixing that with the gratification of service, that I just happened to fall in love with doing all that. I was hooked. I was addicted to making people feel good through my food and seeing their immediate reactions, and then experimenting and getting better at cooking. I did get my I did get my law degree, and
Nice.
I did,
We
and
have to keep the parents happy, right? So
right,
you did,
exactly,
yes.
exactly. um, and uh, and then I was interning for the Wayne County prosecutor's office at the time, and I got a call. I remember exactly where I was. I was in my car and I got a phone call, and it was my APA supervising APA, assistant prosecuting
Mm-hmm.
attorney, offering me with a job. And faced with that choice right then and there, I very graciously and respectfully declined it. And I was like, I'm going to cook. And
That's
that's what I did.
crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
those jobs, by the way, for people that don't know, are very sought after. Those are positions that people want. But I mean, you knew what you wanted to do. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so how do we get to social media from there? So I didn't even know this about you, by the
Oh,
way, John, with both the pop-ups and everything. But let's
yeah.
just take a step back for a second. Why Detroit? How did you end up in Detroit? Because I mean, it's such a cool city now. It's like, I
Yeah.
mean, I remember back in the day, I grew up in London, Ontario. And so we would go
Okay.
to Detroit sometimes, and it was like scary that I'm also coming from
Mhm.
Canada. So anything at that time in the States was scary. Any big city was scary. And here I am in New York, so I overcame that fear. But yeah, Detroit was like a scary place, and so
it,
yeah, how did
it
you end up in
was
Detroit?
okay.
Because it's such
And
a big part of your content as well.
yeah, and honestly, like, to say during that time that things didn't look bleak would be a complete lie. 2000 and set 2005, 6, 7, 8, right up to, I mean, as recently as anybody can stand to say, Detroit's outlook was just not good looking from the outside in. As a as an artist and as a person like in their 20s, it was probably one of like the biggest points of creative growth that I had, because, like, yes, it had its issues, and yes, you had to be smart about things. You understand that there were places that you could go, and understand that there were places that you shouldn't. But um the emptiness of the city was something that you could not imagine what it was. I was a bartender at the time. During this time that I was there, when I first moved down there, I was bartending, and we have a road called Woodward. I believed it was the first paved road in the United States.
Oh wow!
Um, and so it was the main artery to downtown. And it was like 4 o'clock in the morning. I was a little drunk. Came
Oh my!
home, took my dog out to go to the bathroom, and on this main avenue at 4 in the morning, it was so empty. And I was like, I just laid down in the middle of the road just to experience what it was. And just like the quietness of being in a city
And that was like
downtown.
a
And
main road.
yeah, and
Yeah.
and there was nobody around. So yes, things were different there. And why I have always loved the city for all its faults, because I did see such potential through the people that I got to know, through cooking at underground raves. I was a party promoter for a little while. Um, I dabbled in event promotion, and it was such a close, especially the queer community over
Mm-hmm.
there. It was such a close knit community in a city that seemed so big, um, that I felt like I could try anything and have the wiggle room and space to either succeed or fail and continue on. And that's what happened with my food. These pop-ups, like, I wasn't cooking gourmet meals right off
Mm-hmm.
the bat. I was a home cook with space and a community that was both curious and patient and accepting and still very supportive of all the like mistakes that I could have made. Um,
Wow, what
and
a
because of
great
that, I was able to
environment.
keep going. Yeah. So I would say, like, creatively speaking, I owe everything that I have to Detroit because I feel like if I tried this in New York or Los
Mhm.
Angeles, no culinary background, no experience in food whatsoever outside of my own kitchen, I would have been eaten alive over there. But no, I was able to be fostered and supported um, by the people around me. And in turn, like, I wanted to do my best to serve the people and give experiences to the people who lived around me, things that they might not have had access to otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, what a great environment for somebody like you to thrive in. And we don't even think about that kind of stuff. I mean, Detroit is such a hot spot now, right? I mean, a lot of
Mhm.
artists moved to Detroit. It was like affordable, but it sounds like you were part of that, renaissance, like that rejuvenation of the city. And like you said, I mean, I think it's interesting that you use the word empty because often in those empty spaces, like in real life and metaphorically, you can find the space, right? The
Mhm.
space to grow, to experiment, to learn things, to put yourself out there. And yeah, I mean, you didn't follow that traditional trajectory of a chef, right? Where you start as like lowest on the totem pole in the kitchen, you get your ass kicked, you get yelled at, you're living the bear.
No, absolutely not. But I did like eventually go into that, like through my pop-ups. I was luckily didn't have to start at the bottom at a lot of restaurants that I eventually started working at in the city. Like, I was already, I would go in already having a station of my own. And like, I did have the complete restaurant and chef experience. It was just with a different kind of beginning because I would cook for these chefs at their pop-ups and have pop-ups with them. And once they opened restaurants, I would work at the restaurants, and I got to shift from place to place and got to like learn about completely different styles of food that I was accustomed to. And it was great. It was a great culinary education that stemmed from the fact that we were like first and foremost in this city, and together just like trying to build things in the city.
Yeah, no, I love that. That's an amazing story. And so how do you get to social media? I know it was probably well during the pandemic, right? I
Hmm.
feel like that's when you really hit your stride. So how did you get started?
So right before the pandemic, I had this uh, secret kitchen that was also my apartment. It was a 16-seat private event space that I also lived in inside a farmer's market district
Oh,
in the city.
nice.
It's called Eastern Market, and it is the largest and oldest continuously running farmers market district in the country. And it's a beautiful place if you love food.
That's
I highly
incredible.
recommend a visit.
Yeah, so much
Um,
history there. I love your
oh,
like
yeah.
history lessons too. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Well, you think of Detroit, you think of like cars and Motown,
Oh, yeah.
but
But
that's
then
very
there's like a
interesting.
whole world that had to service all of that. So,
Right. Exactly.
um, yeah. And so I was running that operation right before the pandemic hit. And once the pandemic hit, I obviously shut down everything because I wasn't going to run what was essentially an illegal restaurant during the middle of the pandemic. Like, what if somebody got sick? I'd
Right.
feel terrible and also probably be arrested. So,
Right. That was the
um,
lawyer in you, John. You were like,
you're
let me
right.
assess the let me
Exactly.
let me assess the
Assess the
risk here.
risks.
Yeah. Make some decisions here. Love it.
Yeah, it's always there. Lawyer John is always there
Right.
on my shoulder instead of
I
an
love
angel.
it.
Um, and so I was actually already on TikTok at the time, and I was an early adopter of TikTok. In fact, even before the pandemic, I was like flipping through TikTok probably once every couple weeks or so, not really understanding this thing, but sensing that there was something special about it. Um, when I was going through, it was like people doing dances and lip syncs, and like there was some like cosplay artists over there. And it was fun, like just for a couple like first thing to do in the morning, just flip through like literally 3 videos, and I was like, okay, turn it off. If you can imagine, there was a time where you could only like stand to watch 3 videos before you like moved on with your day.
Wow. Yeah, I don't remember that time back then. Now it's just like being a zombie.
Just literally doom scrolling.
Yeah.
But then like, and then I would like, people would think I was crazy when I was talking about it. And it was like, oh, well, you made that little dance app for kids. I was like, no, there's something special there. Like, just you wait. I promise.
That little dance
there's
for
like,
kids.
yeah. And so once the pandemic hit, I remembered like those videos started. There were the videos went from kids dancing and lip syncing and cosplay to like kids like talking about how like alone they felt and how scared they were. And I was like, well, I don't know what I can do. What can I do? I can cook. I can teach. I guess I could teach people how to cook. Like things were rough with quarantine and like not being able to go grocery shopping. I remember when we had to stand in line to go to the grocery store and like keep our distance and stuff. It was hard to get food. So teaching emergency sustainable recipes that like, you know, turn all the junk in your fridge into a frittata, or how to like, you know,
bake bread. That was the big thing. Everyone started to bake
roast
bread.
a chicken, turn that to soup, and then like do all that stuff. So my stuff started off as like survival food. And, you know, it was, I think if you scroll back far enough, you'll see just how like cringe those videos were. I was terrified to speak. I was terrified to be in front of the camera. But it was still one of the first cooking videos on the app. And like as things got better, I started being like, well, you know, we're still in lockdown. Things don't seem to be so bad. Let me just show off what I've been cooking in my studio space these past few years. Like highfalutin, fancy, well-designed, well-plated, conceptual food. And then things really started to take off. And that's pretty much it. It happened over the course of the year. I remember like between 2019 and end of 2019 and end of 2020 was when I hit 1 million followers, back when something like that meant something.
Yeah. Oh no, believe me, it still does.
Yeah.
Do you remember what your first post was where you posted and you were like, yeah, I'm on to something here. Like there's some, and I don't even mean something that went viral, but something where you were like, okay, this is getting some traction.
I don't think I ever had any kind of awareness.
Right. You just like, you enjoyed
exactly
what you were doing and you were posting.
Yeah, I was just enjoying it, literally doing it for the love of the game and literally doing it just to like make people happy. It actually wasn't until like I got my first brand deal quote from a person like that I'd even realized that this could have been a career. I thought I would go back to cooking after the world opened up and we'll just like move on with our lives. I didn't know that I was like going to change everything in my life forever.
Yeah, and I mean it's so cool because it sounds like you went from it's the pandemic. I'm just going to show people how to like use what's left in their fridge, like cook for like the zombie apocalypse. And then things started to open up a little bit more, and you're like, I'm actually going to show these people some really cool dishes.
Yeah.
And so today, like, how do you decide on your content, what it's going to be? And we are definitely going to get to your dogs, Jon, because your dogs feature very. There he is. But you have 2, right?
I have 2. The other one's upstairs watching TV.
Okay, cool. Yeah, the dogs. We can't leave the dogs out. But nowadays, like, how do you decide what you're gonna post and what you're gonna create? Because I mean, you have large followings on YouTube and Instagram as well, but TikTok is definitely, you know, your sweet spot in terms of your following. So how do you decide what you're going to post?
It's pretty much what the moment strikes me. Well, what the moment and inspiration strikes me at this point. Like I have moved away from like showing off my culinary skills to like take on probably a more teaching role in my content. I find it a lot more gratifying now than just like making these grand dishes that no one can eat, to like trying to like show people some cool stuff that they could possibly do at home and experience for themselves. Like the the fact that my most impactful contribution probably to the culinary world is like teaching or telling so many people about the different ways to enjoy a tomato sandwich is
Yeah. I was going to bring up the tomatoes.
Oh,
Could
yeah.
you grow your
Yeah.
own tomatoes?
Oh, I do. I do now. I'm also very blessed to be 2 miles away from Eastern Market still. So like
Right.
I had access to like some of the best tomatoes that you can have. And just like I incorporate a lot of just like culinary concepts into the simple tomato sandwich that people might not realize that I'm doing. But like when it comes to like enjoying the basics, it's just tomatoes, bread. Usually like I prefer a sourdough, but like a white sandwich bread is also very great. Mayo, salt, and pepper. But in that, to be able to enjoy that, you have to understand what seasonality is, because nobody's doing that with bad tomatoes. You have to have an appreciation of what good produce is.
Yes.
And then by incorporating other things, different kinds of bread, you're like introducing them to like artisanal elements of what bread can be. And then adding just like little twists and turns, but still keeping the essence of the tomato sandwich, teaching people how simple it is to be creative with like your food. So that was why I wanted to do that. And I found it was so neat to see that people will actually try what you're doing and then share what you're doing and then like make their own content with it, or like just like tag me on their Instagram things like, oh, it's tomato sandwich season. Thanks, Jon Kung. Like,
yeah.
that's so much more than like than someone saying, oh my God, that looks so cool. I wish I could eat that. And I was like, well, that's not going to happen because this took me 3 hours. So
Yeah. Yes.
tomato sandwich.
Yeah, no. And, you know, for somebody like me, like I famously do not cook. My husband is the chef of the family. He loves it. He loves to cook. He has all the cookbooks. I buy him all the gadgets. And I was very proud of myself when I bought him a sous vide, which of course I'd never actually heard of before, but saw in one of my clients' videos.
Amazing piece of machinery.
Yes, amazing. I'm a vegetarian, so I don't get that much use out of it, but it's cool to do carrots in it though. The carrots are really
sous vide
delicious.
carrots are
yes,
fantastic.
Sous vide carrots.
But in New York, is it the Logan Square Farmers Market or
Union Square?
Union Square
Union
Farmers
Square,
Market.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
that is a very respectable farmers market.
Yes.
There were some tomatoes in there that I had never seen before.
Right.
And blew my mind. So
but I'll tell you that, and you know this, the great thing about New York, I can just walk down the street and get something incredible. Like at any given given time of day. I'm like, why do I want to cook when I can go get the best tomato sandwich I've ever tasted at the deli on the corner? But my point was just that for somebody like you, like doing those simple things but elevating them is helpful for someone like me, because I'm like, oh, I can do that. So that's, it's really cool that's obviously the type of content you're putting out in addition to like more, I guess, like highfalutin type dishes. So it's interesting because we were looking at your YouTube and you have like you have successful videos that are 3 minutes, that are 40, some that are 43 minutes, like the again, just to get back to the content and that process of creating, do you prefer short form? Or are you more open to long form? Because now I feel like long form is coming back. And how do you feel about that?
I certainly hope that long form is coming back.
Yeah, I think so. I think YouTube's pushing it now.
I think society needs to retrain themselves to
our attention spans.
Exactly.
Yes.
It is a much bigger lift as a content creator, obviously. And like the editing process is brutal when it comes to long form, but I'll never complain about it because I have a lot of friends who are like legacy creators on YouTube and are very inspiring with the way that they do the long form process. I have thought to do long form videos again, probably in the form of like equipment reviews. For some reason, my equipment reviews do the best of all of the things that I do.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah. And I haven't done one.
Well, people love their kitchen gadgets, right?
They do. they love their kitchen gadgets. And like, I feel like the way that I talk about equipment, I like to approach things from as realistic a standpoint of use as possible. There are a lot of these people who do equipment reviews that like put it right through the test and put it through like crazy durability tests and stuff. And I was like, that's not how people are going to use this pan. Like I also like to spend a long time with it, just casually cooking as well before I like talk about anything. But yeah, they seem to do the best. And I have also a lot of admiration for like video essayists on YouTube. I love hearing of just a very well researched, well written piece of talking head content. I thought about doing that a little bit, but otherwise, yeah. The problem with doing content on YouTube is that it's very informed by search. And when you're doing something when you're trying to create recipes that are completely original, they don't do well, because if it hasn't really been done before,
a bunch of people aren't searching for them.
It's never really going to be searched.
You also have to you have to put out content a lot and consistently. Right. And if it's long form, that's a challenge.
Yes. Especially by yourself.
So I have to ask you, since you brought it up, what's your favorite kitchen gadget?
Oh.
And I'm asking a chef. You got it, and you can only name one.
I mean, like the chefy answer would probably be something like, "Oh, my knife." But you know what?
The chefy answer. I love that.
What do I find myself? What piece of equipment? Like, I'm trying to think of the silliest thing. Oh, okay. So I have a corn cobber or a corn kernel remover. And because and basically what you do is like it's this metal ring with spikes that has a handle, and you literally just stick exactly. You stick a cooked piece of corn in there, and all the kernels come clean off. And depending on what you plan to cook, like that is an absolute lifesaver. There are some people like, oh, we don't like unitaskers. Unitasker is a gadget that does only one thing, and a lot of people poo-poo those. And I was like, well, you try making like cream corn soup like over and over again using like fresh kernels. And if you're making I think what is the Brazilian pamonha? I think it's called that. It's pretty much like a Brazilian tamale, and it's used with a lot of fresh corn.
Yes,
huh?
Elote.
Yes, or an elote salad, or like any kind of thing.
I mean, that is the coolest thing. I love that, because I do cut my kernels off my corn, but I do it old school with the tong and this gigantic knife.
Right.
I'm probably going to injure myself one day, but yeah.
It's super efficient, and it makes the work like literally seconds long instead of like taking forever to do it.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. I was definitely not. I feel like a lot of chefs would say knife or like saucepan.
Yeah, of course.
You know, the basics.
But I guess those are tools. Those aren't gadgets.
Yes, true. Yes. That's true. That's a distinction there. So do you watch a lot of other people's food-based social media content?
I wish I did more. The extent
There's no right answer, John. It's okay. There's no right answer.
No, but there is like the best answer, and I don't have it. My food content consumption is completely based on me trying to be a good and supportive friend to my other content creator friends. I like to watch their stuff, but that's because I just like to see my friends and also want to support their content and watch their videos all the way through to like help their reach and stuff. So, you know, it's just me thinking of I'm being a good colleague. But as far as food content, I don't, that's not how I relax.
Right. I've been doing this all day long, and now I don't want to watch it also.
Right. I was never like that kid who liked to watch people. people always says, "Oh, I grew up on the Food Network." I didn't. I didn't grow up on the
Hmm.
Food Network. I have a lot of friends who were on that like first explosive cast on Bon Appetit, but I never knew them through that. It's just like consuming food media was definitely, especially like ever since I did that as work, was not how I relax. I might do it as research, but research is work, and
Right.
that's like yeah.
True. And so do you have favorite chefs? Like they don't even have to be, social media chefs, but favorite chefs in general.
Um, I mean, there have been chefs that I had admired when I was starting off. I think like, regardless of what your opinion of them now might be, but David Chang was like really
Oh, yes.
just somebody that what he was doing when I was learning was really just very encouraging for me to continue on doing what I was doing. I have every single issue of Lucky Peach that
Oh,
exists,
nice.
which is, if you know the publication, a big deal. And so, yeah, there was that. Of course, like the greats, pretty much everyone on the first season of Chef's Table, I was probably completely obsessed with. As it turns out, as we learn now, like a lot of those kitchens were just toxic work environments, and we
Right.
like need to just learn from that. But I also believe that you consume media under the gaze of the times that it was put out, and appreciate it for what it is and how it inspired you.
Yeah,
So,
I don't
yeah.
think the toxic kitchen culture has changed, to be honest. I mean, I think people are more aware of it now because of shows and stuff that have been on or people talking about it, but I'm not sure how much it's changed. But no, I hear you. You watch these shows and they're not showing that stuff, but
Yeah.
they are showing like
Yeah.
some pretty talented chefs and some great food. So that's interesting. I'm sure with David Chang too, it's nice. It was nice, like especially as a young person, to see somebody who like looks like you on the screen,
Oh,
right? I
yeah.
mean, it's like here's a guy like I can relate to, and the type of cooking and the food, and you know, I mean, it wasn't long ago that you didn't have that.
Oh, yeah. No,
So
totally.
I'm
And of
sure
course,
that was
like,
part of it.
and Anthony Bourdain was extremely inspiring as well, not just well, more so as a journalist and an appreciator of food, and a lot of his
Hmm.
stuff that he had done with, what was his show on CNN called? Not No
Oh my
Reservation. Well, No
god.
Reservations was one,
Yeah.
but
Well, yeah, he was, I mean, but he was also just such a likable, authentic guy. Like
he
he
was,
was, yeah, yeah, no, for sure. I,
he
I wasn't
was.
even that interested in cooking shows, but I would watch him.
He
Um,
really also kind of showed like, I don't know, he was, in many ways, he was that rock star that all of us
he was a
wanted to
total rock
be.
star.
But he also did not come off as toxic at all. I mean, I guess to anyone but himself at the end, but like his example of what it was to be a man was one that was quiet, considerate of people who were outside the realm of your own culture, and like what it was to be a real appreciator of different people around you. Like there were not many like men who had the gravitas and confidence and still had the openness that he did, and I think that's what really resonated with me with him.
Yeah, no, true, true. There was just, yeah, absolute rock stars, super down to earth, and just, I mean, I didn't know him personally, obviously, but
Yeah.
just from what you saw on the screen, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely an inspiration. So we have to talk about and this is kind of going back a little bit, but the camping videos, and you and I have talked about this before because I'm like obsessed with them because you're kind of Anthony Bourdaining it out there, but you're like, you go out, you camp, and then you like cook. And I always make my husband watch them too, by the way. I'm like, you got to see what my client's doing right now. It's so cool. He's like making like the most complicated thing, and he's out in the woods and his dog's there and he's feeding the dog. And it's like, it's amazing. So tell me about the camping content. And by the way, that s'more you made the other day, the s'more, I was like, my mouth
With
was
the peanut butter cup?
Yeah.
I just edited a video of me doing another one.
Oh,
So
yeah.
the s'more content follows the line of thinking of like the tomato sandwich content where it's like just trying different things with something that people can really do. And like I purposefully, so the s'mores that I do in the video, like I know they're not the perfect s'more. Like I know there are millions of things that I could do to make it better, but I'm also trying to do it as if like I was a kid again with just different chocolate bars. Like that is how you like do it when you're that young. It's like, let me just try the exact same thing in the easiest way, because like there are so many people that had comments like, well, why didn't you just like, toast the graham cracker a little more on that cast iron pan? I was like, I know I could
Really?
do that. I know I could do that. But that's
You're
not the
like,
point.
I can make this a Michelin star s'more, okay?
Exactly.
Fuck off.
It's ridiculous. Like, I cater to a very like, if you look me up on like different platforms, different people on different platforms watch me for different reasons. So when I'm doing things that are overly simplistic, people are kind of confused. Like, why are you burning? Why is your marshmallow like on fire every single time? And I was like, because it's fun for kids to do. And also personally, it tones down the sweetness to make it a little bitter by like burning the marshmallow. But like, so the whole camping thing outside of that and the other dishes that I cook, it's funny that you say they seem overly complex, because my thinking coming into my camp cooking content was that if I can make these things with just a fire, no running water, no electricity, and I can make this dish, then possibly a person who was like a home cook with the full kitchen available to them might be able to like feasibly simply make it themselves too.
And listen, John, don't get me wrong. I definitely didn't think it was overly complex. You're also talking to somebody who doesn't cook. No, but you know what it is? It's because you're cooking like really cool stuff out there. You're not like opening, a pack of hot dogs and, doing it over the fire. Like you have some cool equipment. You throw down that steak and you're like, seasoning
I'm cooking meals. I'm cooking like
there
dishes.
You go. That's just it. Yes, you're cooking dishes. Exactly. Out in the woods. Yes.
Yeah. So my process is that I go out. I literally am out in the woods for an entire week. I'm there Monday to Monday in the forest. I've got 2 coolers of fresh ingredients with me, a box of, spices, non-perishables, everything from tin fish to spices to pasta to rice and stuff. And then possibly like another basket of like non-perishable produce, pumpkins and carrots and stuff. And I just like don't really have a plan. I film 3 videos a day, Monday to Friday, get a nice backlog of content. And then Saturday and Sunday, I truly unplug and just spend the time enjoying myself with me and my dog. I also cook for my dog. I have 2 dogs. Only one of them likes to camp, so she comes with me. I also have a husband, does not like to camp, so only that one dog comes with me.
I'm with your husband on that one. Yes. Yeah. Not a camper myself, but I can appreciate that other people like it.
Yeah. And I think, besides the fact that like it was a different way for me to recipe develop, it was a different way for me to show people the things that they could possibly do in the kitchen. If I could do it in the woods, maybe you could do this at home. It was also a response to a lot of the fast-paced, fast-cut cooking content that was really popular, or still remains to be quite popular.
Now that you mention that, I think that's probably why I love it so much as well, because it does feel like I'm out there with you. Like I'm like, oh, this is really nice.
I wanted something slow. I wanted something peaceful. I wanted to do something. Because I follow a lot of cooking content creators just to get what the general vibe of the whole industry, I guess, is like. And so it started, food content to me seemed like it was almost getting violent in a way with just how forceful everything was, with how
it's all the ASMR, like the chop and the shut.
And it wasn't even relaxing ASMR either. So Like I was like, well, what is the opposite of this within the ability of like within the realm of my ability? What is the opposite of this? And so like I decided to do the cooking content, and it didn't do well. And it is like still like probably my lowest performing branch of content, but I do it because I love it, and I do it
Yeah,
because the
that
people
really
who see it
surprises
really
me.
like it.
Yeah.
The algorithm is not friendly to people who venture out of like what they're used to.
Right.
I don't think those videos are any worse in quality than the things in my kitchen, but the platforms love it when I'm in my kitchen. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's frustrating, but I do believe in it. So I keep it going. And
Yeah,
it's,
please do keep it going
yeah,
because I love it, and I'm very upset to hear that because people need to be watching Jon Kung's out in the forest camping
I will
cooking
say though,
content.
people do love to see my dog. Boba is the one that I take camping with me,
Boba.
and they love to see how much she only looks miserable. She looks miserable in the edit that I give her. So she loves being out there, but she's also like a pit bull, and pit bulls love to be snugly warm and cozy. And she's so expressive that it's very easy to make her a character out there. So, and I think I decided to do one video where I focused mostly on her, and that one did really well.
Yeah, well, yeah, the animal content, but also
Yeah,
like you have
she's
two
a
dogs,
star.
right? Boba, are
I
they
do.
both pit bulls?
Yes, they are both pit bulls, Boba and Mochi. Yeah.
Boba and Mochi, so cute.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, but you can also really feel the love you have for them and vice versa. It's very cute. Like the dog content mixed in there is. So when are Boba and Mochi getting their own channels?
Oh,
Is that in the future?
people ask that. People ask that all the
Yes.
time. And I said, I can't, because if I give them their own channels, I have nothing to post in my own stories.
Yes. You're like, there's only one star in
Yeah,
this
yeah,
household.
exactly. Well,
Doggies.
it's them, but like I am definitely riding on their coattails when it comes to keeping people watching my Instagram stories. So
Yes. So just to pivot away for a second, we're almost through. We've got just a few more questions left, but to pivot away from the food and the doggy content, even though it's so interesting, but you have a very strong bond with the drag community,
mhm,
and the drag star Ms. Cracker pops up in your feed, and you had you were doing a podcast, and your co-host was Kimchi,
mhm.
and so tell us a little bit about that and how that figures into your brand and your content.
So I have always like even when I was younger, I had always had um well, gay bars and gay clubs were always like communities that I was part of, whether or not I worked there or even like performed myself in them, not in drag, but in other capacities. But because that was such an integral part of my life growing up as a young adult and as a queer person, before drag had exploded, I had already been a really great appreciator of the art form. I've been like backup dancers to drag queens in Detroit, and it was I think because of that a lot of the queens that I had met initially like understood me as a person that didn't just like wanted to meet someone on TV. Now there are plenty of people that are very savvy to the art form and appreciate the arts, but back then there weren't as much. We're talking about like people who were logo queens as it were then when there were drag queens on the Logo Network.
Right. Oh
And
God, the
so
logo
yeah,
network.
yeah,
That takes me back.
yeah.
Yes.
So
Wow.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
think because of that, I've had always maintained connections, and like if you're friends with one, others have heard of you. I get to meet them. Like I still
Yeah, it's a
do.
tight community. Even
It's
in
a
New
tight
York it was.
community.
Yeah.
Yeah, and doing queer events, like I met Miss Cracker at the Big Queer Food Festival in Boston, and we had just like kept tabs ever since. Like we had friends in common, and we became friends ourselves. Like it's just, and I'm always so happy to be connected to like an art form that I appreciate so much, and it's really just an honor to be part of it in any way that I can, even if it's just like being a friend on their side of the Zoom call. yeah, I think that's my connection to it.
Yeah, I actually, when I first moved to New York, I was lucky enough to meet this amazing guy who's a friend to the state. He had a drag persona called Vindaloo, and we
Oh,
would
I
go to New
love.
York and head to toe. He's an Indian guy, absolutely gorgeous, head to toe, sari, makeup. And we would get into all the clubs, man. It was so much fun. I did it. You and I will talk off camera,
Vindaloo is
John.
such a good drag
Yes, I
name.
figured
I
you would
love
appreciate
it.
that. Yes, Vindaloo. And we did Twilo, Limelight, like the Roxy, the Beige Party. Like we were, yeah, I was deep in it, John, with and thanks to Vindaloo, the crowds would part when we walked up and would get
Yeah,
into like every club. It was amazing. She was
and even
absolutely
the
gorgeous.
I had the same, like, even when I was like 19 years old, just like this little baby gay, and I had like
Baby
my group
gay.
of friends was like these, I wouldn't say older now, but they're my age now, like drag queens in their like 30s, early 40s, and that was the crowd that I rolled with. So not only was I like in this like the odd one out in this great group of amazing boisterous people, there were also people that had like a lot of experience in the gay scene, like people who were out and going to bars like in the 80s and 90s.
Your debut cookbook, Kung Food, by the way, best name for a cookbook ever. I love that. We were talking about names and I love that one. So it resonated everywhere, vibrant recipes, really inclusive philosophy. And how was writing a cookbook, compared to what you do every day, which is like it's such a different medium. So how was that process for you? And by the way, it was a bestseller. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. So writing a cookbook, well, I imagine that writing a cookbook during the pandemic was not your typical cookbook writing experience. So for me, and it was my first one, I had nothing to compare the experience to. But it was interesting. And not at all what I expected, like as far as it takes to write it. Like it was just hours and hours of like poring over recipes. Um, and because of my background in culinary, like I could whip out a recipe no problem and just make it up out of thin air with just a couple of things to base inspiration on. What was the hard part for writing the cookbook for me was like coming up with a sentimental head note. Because like every recipe has like the top that's like, oh, this is what this dish means to me, this is why this is so good. And I was like, well, I literally pulled this out of thin air. Like, what sentimental thing could I possibly have to say about this? So I managed, but it was still like that was the challenge for me. And then also finding out like how many different hands are in a cookbook, whether it be like the editor or like the photographer and the designer, like how expensive it is to produce and
Yeah,
like
I'm
just,
sure just the photography alone is such a huge part of it.
oh my gosh, it was Johnny Miller. He was the one who was did the photography. It was amazing, and it was such a great experience to be able to like work with him for that. But yeah, it was very educational. It was, I can't say that it was like enjoyable all the way through because it was just so much work, and it was like I'd never been paid for a word in my life.
Yeah.
Unless you included like, summary reports and legal briefs and stuff. But I was still an intern back then. Technically I wasn't paid for those words.
Yeah, I'm
Um
sure I'm sure there's a certain amount of pressure you feel too, because somebody's like, here's some money, write a book, and then
oh yeah.
yeah, and then
And then
it's
that's it.
well, you did it and you hit
Yeah.
it out of the park. So congratulations to you.
Thank
And
you.
so we're gonna move into the lightning round. Thank you so much for all your time, John. This is a fun part of the interview. Actually, I like to tell people this is the serious part and kind of freak them out, but I've already said it. So here we are. We have one, two, three. We have five questions. Five questions
Okay.
for you. What is your death row last meal? We start with the morbid one, but here we
Oh
are.
yeah. My
Originally,
death.
it was like,
Okay.
"What's your desert island meal?" And I'm like, "That's not interesting. What's your death row meal? One meal.
Okay.
What is it?"
So the last meal that I eat before I die would consist of so many foods that I love so much that it would probably be the thing that ended up killing me. So I have to have fried chicken. I have to have Detroit style pizza. I have to have like a lot of sushi, like different kinds of nigiri sushi, probably like a toro, like a lot of ikura ones. I need to have like Chinese dumplings and soup and dan dan noodles. I mean, I can course out this meal for myself.
Yes, that sounds, yeah, that sounds, all of
Oxtail
those things sound great.
stew. I need to have like curry of some kind, like maybe like a chana masala or like
Ooh, nice.
what's the eggplant? Aloo.
Bindi? Bindi is
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
eggplant. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, there's aloo gobi is the potato and cauliflower
Oh, okay.
type
Well, I need to
subji.
have that. Yeah. So
Yes. John,
I could just keep
we didn't
going.
ask you for every food you love on earth. We're
Yeah,
talking
I know.
about one meal. They're like, just forget it. Just get this guy to test for we're done.
Right.
We're not going to like 10 different places for this fucking guy, you know? Yeah. All right. And what is one recipe the internet will never let you forget?
Oh, it will be my tomato sandwiches.
Yes.
Because like I still randomly
That's a
like I'll come
legacy
up with
food
a
right
recipe.
there.
It is. And like I'll still get some comments being like, "Oh, I didn't know the tomato sandwich guy cooked anything else."
Tomato sandwich guy.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So, what is a TikTok food trend that you would ban forever?
Oh. Oh. I don't know very many. I stopped paying attention, but I can't imagine cloud bread would have been any good. That was
Yeah.
like the
What was that
second
one?
most. It was like an egg white baked. It was like basically like a savory meringue, but underbaked to look like bread.
Okay.
It
That
just didn't
sounds
seem.
awful.
Oh, and you know what? Recently, like especially when it comes to healthy food TikTok, we can calm down with the cottage
Oh
cheese.
God, I hate cottage cheese.
Yeah.
The texture. Ugh.
I don't even hate cottage cheese, but I hate that much cottage cheese.
Yes, I agree. There's another one, and I'll probably think of it later. I can't remember, but there was one that everybody was sort of like shitting on for a while. I can't remember what it was, but what is a food crime? Just to go back, I realized just to go back to
Mm,
crime. What is the
mhm.
food crime you secretly love?
Oh, food crime that I.
I have one. I'll tell you after. You got to answer first.
Uh, hmm. See, the thing is, I don't think I have shame, so I don't have. When it comes to food, I
That's
don't really
fair.
have shame, so I don't really. I can't think of anything,
I
but that
feel
doesn't
like it would
mean
have
it's not a
something to do. Oh,
crime.
I know. What about? I have one. I'm going to tell you in a minute, and
Mm.
you'll laugh, and half the internet will disagree. But oh yeah, ketchup and steak. I feel like people get really worked
Oh
up about
yeah,
that one.
yeah. I
Yeah.
can see how. Yeah, I think ketchup is uh, underrated as an ingredient. Like, actually, there are a lot of Chinese sauces that use ketchup quite a bit, and then we do very good things with
Interesting.
it. So I
Isn't
get
it
it.
just basically sugar?
Huh?
Is it?
It is, yeah, sugar, vinegar, and a little bit of tomato puree.
Right.
So it's acid.
Yeah, my
It's
food
acid
crime
and sweetness.
is I like pineapple on pizza. I don't know what to tell you.
I see. I do too.
It's sweet and savory.
I do.
It's
It's
sweet and
sweet and savory. And
yes.
you know what? Like my favorite pizza is pineapple, jalapeno, bacon, and onions.
Oh my God, I love this. I've been
Yeah.
validated by a
Yeah.
real chef.
Yeah.
I get this is such a great moment for me, John. Thank you so much. And the last question I have for you, this is what we ask every guest is if you were not a creator, what would you be?
Oh, I mean, probably a lawyer, not
Probably a lawyer,
necessarily
yeah.
like, yeah,
Yes, that makes sense.
possibly against my own will, but like, yeah,
You'd be in the
yeah,
ADA's office. You'd be
yeah,
prosecuting. Very
Yeah.
cool. Well, thank you so much, John. I've really appreciated this. We took up more of your time than I said we were going to, but thank you so much. It's so
Oh
entertaining.
no,
And
it's my pleasure.
yes. And we'll be on the lookout for all of your content, camping and otherwise. And yeah, thanks again.
Thank you.
Signed, Conversations with Digital Mavericks. This episode was produced by myself and Phoebe Dunn, edited by Carmine Mattia, social media strategy by Maureen Lauren Sedlak, and signed theme music by Carmine Mattia.